Ini one Roma di kota Tampung di Karolikan itu di start atas one Karolikan di fasilitas hospitalnya yang di Colorado School. Ini di sana one masuk ini untuk kita kongsi kita maka bisa relasinya biasa kita dengan si misalnya maksudnya ini dan bisa kasih dan saya kan finish on itu kita bisa untuk bahas ini saya kita bahas ini sedikit langsung kita harus lebih fasilitasi apa baru start ini. Se construisere bene se meglio che non si stronca e che se anzi se meglio che in classe da questa non la fa quindi se mi fai se pensa la persona la sta dello capesta lei second room che capacista prende la relazione che sta con questa con l'influenza se
Really, state law, house law, one by kilometer. Time play at least one half of them is one half of one. I play in plan. After the next character, live say one side house, yeah. The take what inside. The play inside is so time play also moving what you want and yes.
So ini dan saya kami in stay inside the warwick lalu kami dulu belakang stay inside house after from all pupul ini mau house belakang lagi setengah belum all mana di all room belakang di setengah belum seharusnya di setengah belum pengen mau di rumah tangga matris di tahu jadi sedikit lama aku ini yang kayak saya sebenarnya kata setengah aku. Oke, saya challenge lagi. Nanti yang lagi folder dan bisa kirim dokumen. Untuk lagi atau bisa pokok kasih dari pokok lebih dari itu.
Also misalnya orang ikut lemo, orang bantar saya ikut lemo. From very free or some teachers is very man. The woman from say, Henny, that too much work. No, so free no free. More beginning, all goods inside the house, everything. So we look say, no times I don't happen. You say, oh mommy, only been what it was, we got problem. Finding a safety place for hiding more beginning. From the son of the papa, or you listen or last time you're all over the village. Or you listen, you make them prepare for one cyclone anytime. When we do say, the old man, the no being ready, to think power say one day yet, by the very first one. You make them so you don't say, old mama, no time how do you get up? Sorry, old mama. Only been worth more, we for that 3 years, we started making more hand for organization, second go, yeah. Or Mamma said, no, beginning, you're saying, hold hand for the Sunday land. We look how many people are from it. Then, no final husband, or mommy, trouble good, or beginning, you will go stay inside from classroom. The full inside of classroom, losing homework at that. And the house go down. And imagine saying we got thinking or saying and now walk over to the cheap.
Exactly, we got the house to be continue. Pinamata, pinto yung mata, kami take Play work again from our house. Play is the front of the house. Only to one play complete one house no or play to one things the rotten one and play with some house if you start this now. Ang galing sa seven, galing pa yung from now yun, late low, galing start with the house, local same, 2-3 years or so,
Imo ko ako actually she sabi so any sabi providing some link or one way is ever come Ronald ko ay na sa no libre na kasi libre na kitchen libre start may ka pa outside no libre na kitchen
What the house? Kita masih ada. Bisa itu ada house. Biasanya kadang kami house.
Terus saya keluar. Ayam ini saya pakai logo. Por supply no income, terus saya tahu lokri. Ayam supply kami beli set house, kita CYCLONE kami, itu profile. Sama saya mula. Kontennya kita tahu lokri, kita pasang konten.
So in the lead up to this workshop, we, with Department of Women's Affairs, CARE, UN, Women and Oxfam, facilitated a couple of events. One was the Gender and Protection Cluster Lessons Learned, and then the second was a Women's Forum. And the idea was that between those two initiatives, we would come up with some key themes and recommendations to present back at this national forum for everyone to consider. Before I start talking about those recommendations and hand over to Ezra, just a reminder to everyone, and I'm sure you've had plenty of gender training in your existing roles, just a reminder of what we're talking about when we're talking gender. So we're not talking about the biological differences between men and women, we're talking about the social construct, the power dynamics between men and women. And when we're talking protection, we're bringing in the lens of boys, girls, people with disability, those groups that are often marginalised and get increasingly marginalised at times of disaster. Gender equality refers to the equal enjoyment of men, women, boys and girls, of rights, opportunities and access to resources. Again, many of these are disrupted at the time of emergency, and then We have agencies coming in, conducting assessments and responding to communities. And what we need to ensure is that all of these groups are considered. Gender and protection in emergencies. So what we're saying is that women, girls, boys and men, people with disabilities, they all have different needs, capabilities and constraints. People can be considered as a marginalised group, but they can also be considered for their capacity and how they can contribute as a community member to a response, to an assessment, to the information that's been collected. Emergencies such as Cyclone Pam have different impact on these groups. A woman may suddenly find herself being the head of household because her husband has been affected in some way, or a man may become a sole parent because his wife has been affected in some way. Children can be orphaned. People with disabilities can suddenly lose access to care and resources that they generally need. So disasters and emergencies exacerbate existing vulnerabilities. When we are assisting and responding to communities at times of disaster, our objective is to assist all groups. If we consult men alone, we are not consulting with 50% of a population. So the challenge is, how do we ensure that with our response, we are responding to a whole of community, not just to one aspect? In order to do this, we need to understand the differing roles and responsibilities of each of these groups. What a man is responsible for his family and within his community structure is different to a woman, and the same for boys and girls. And for people living with disabilities, sometimes they don't have the capacity, not the capacity, the initiative or they don't have the opportunity to even support their community. So how can we draw out the capacity of people with disabilities? How can we ensure that they are being consulted and that their needs are being responded to, and also using them as a resource to support their community? To do this, we need disaggregated data. We had a very lengthy discussion this morning around information management, information collation, analysis, and how we use that. How do we ensure that in all the information we're collecting, that we have this data on who is living in a community? And to support this, we should be looking at the makeup of emergency response structures, such as the Community Disaster and Climate Change Committees and the Provincial Disaster Committees. Are they gender balanced? Do they have people with a disability represented on them? Are other groups from the community represented on these structures? I'll just hand over to Ezron to hand over key findings from the Women's Forum.
Thank you, Charlie. Before me start them all key findings, I think me want them tell them one slogan me village have used all time. Me nothing about us without us. That slogan has been used quite a number of times. Which is basically meaning no more say. Suppose you want them understand them issues flow all vulnerable groups, they have to be part of the process. So that you have a clear understanding, all needs flow kita, one them only one them, assessment should look also one them, rations should be tailored also one them, it should meet in one them kind type of needs. When we go through all findings, as you look at me step and up, you may have through all video, is the lack of preparation when initial warnings are actually been giving out. Women only want them only prepared. Men are still in the nakamals. Mimi one man, and me stop talem. Those are the findings. Only talem say no worry lem by me stone me go with them custom blue me. By me you spet lem by me runway by me na savekam. Lo end resolve lem. You looking one me happen. All house only fall down. And yet, all mama with them all pikinini, they are the one that suffer the most. Just because both partners only know them putum hand together, blow only prepare more kada time only start receiving warnings. Access to resource, vulnerable groups. We talk about information, distribution. What type of we distribute them? It should be known to the vulnerable groups. During distribution, side, they are not visible. Someone would collect part lol kita lo behalf lol kita. And finally, those rations are not arriving lol houses lo all female-headed household all pikinini, all mama blimi, well stop all communities blimi. So only kat same right lo yumo mi ya. Only need lo kat access lo resources we mi stop. Kaya in the national lo South Province blimi, only establish one of using atem we stop. Community Disaster and Climate Change Committee. Only try best pelkata only prepare. Only prepare mo good communities pelkata. Identify safe house. Some might only stop on small private houses too. Only move more man and go inside. Time we warning him stop start lo him become more serious. Now something about participation. You may talk about it and TGM mentioned the low participation of women. Me want to explain something about participation. When we talk about participation, not just the physical presence, lo one mama inside, lo one setting also. It's about listening lo one now mama hemi got lo hemi contribute to. And this is, I think, one important part of participation. Because until unless you listen, but you never have address and need lo all vulnerable groups, all community. Some women too, film say there is lack of awareness in regard to distribution of semi-bintalem. You know, really have one now is being distributed. Where and what is in the package. So I think here you may learn more lessons, and I think you got only room for improvement. The next response, and let me take them all things into consideration while you may make them planning the next response. Plan the community members during the forum will not really understand the cluster system, how it works. For one we got cluster no national level, you know got provincial or even representative town community. Those information were really unclear. Plan the people limit town community blame. I think you may well and agriculture cluster by me style of better position to describe him. But the distraction of some of the livelihood kakai well communities plimi use maybe totally destroyed. Full one. All hygiene kids where one of the most important kid where you may need to give him out. Basically women, but at the same time schools. Well girls will stop them. I got some finding where you really sorry, but only no all hygiene kids only just outside them all together. They were not given the hygiene kit and only been start using some, let's say, traditional way where not really hygienic. Now something in shelter. I think you may think say one size and I fit him every something. But I think you may experience him. There was a time where distribution and go out, and then we got heavy rain, and then there's a lot of people coming back. Only come back, talam me all turbulence rain him go inside lehem. And plan the little house wet, plan the little something, been happen the way where you meet him need all man. And I guess it's still a challenge. Respond quick and me one could flash something, but at the same time in the long run, maybe you may look some measures by which you may put him something where me help him address him need all man. I think some key recommendation we stop assessment. You may want them say rapid assessment blimi inclusive process plan. Quality of information that can be captured. It's a very expensive exercise. Time you look lang. Every class I must part one group on assessment. And suppose rapid assessment blimi is have a capture as much as information you have a capture. This would actually lower some low expenses blimi that you make them up all groups on assessment. I think all assessment form only must include general protection lens inside them. We got one comment one wash. One time one in the cluster meeting, he say, "Time we learn that data hard work little bit tell all activities wash go towards all vulnerable groups." And I guess this is where importance butum some low information we have capture some low not only useful but important data we have address them or inform them planning process. I think collaboration with local organization more structure. Most of the time you will look all international man will come outside with them negative thinking no more. You may think say no will come to take place. Let us look at it low positive point of view. One of them skills only karamikam and how we can learn from them. Sometimes you meeting things only come replacing me from only no seven language play me. But to be honest, I am aware of the limited capacity we me got. And therefore, meetings a collaboration me with them or local or international organization has to be strengthened in such a way where there is transfer of skills, there is transfer of knowledge, where you have learn from Olgada, and always have learn from you, the traditional way of living me, and you have learn Olgada the capacity will got to give him me. Though time me very short, but meetings you have make him something area. In capacity building and training, most class time you talk about gender mainstreaming, they would ask you right away how now it may happen. I think one lol something where me will recognize them too anyway. Most lol cluster they were only activated during disaster or after. During peacetime, I may no problem in DMO. I mean problem lol cluster lead government ministries. Suppose in DMO I allocate them responsibility to you. I mean blue you make them. I mean, not give him back, more point them finger, and them say, and you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do that. I mean, responsibility, it becomes your responsibility when time you agree to establish one cluster lead. So, I mean, very important. You lead in cluster, but at the same time, some lessons learned, cluster me can be, some activities and can be implemented to better prepare communities the next response. Mainstreaming also mitalem. And very difficult blow, task one cluster blow, put them in, gender thinking inside low activities. Whereas that language is sometimes already been spoken by that particular cluster. But just you look savano, so you start make them. I mean, everyone had something sometime. We will try best to develop some guide. But low disaster also category 5, which is pass. And very difficult blow. You mainstream thinking one short period of time we ask them narval cluster because they were pretty much busy with them some narval activity. And I don't blame them. We no blame Morgada from him because during peacetime our cluster is actually doing nothing. And therefore we got one need all activities must happen during peacetime. I guess those are the findings and all question is tab and group discussion. So yes, I think by me asking Charlie blow me arranging me group discussion and please feel free blow some question and some comment. Thank you too much.
Thank you, Ezran. On your tables, there are copies of both the Women's Recovery Forum and the Gender Protection Listeners Report, and there's also separate photocopies of all the recommendations that came out from both of those events for you to refer to. So now we have the challenging task of facilitating a group discussion with 150 people around 15 tables to try and come up with some meaningful recommendations for way forward. This is going to require some moving about just to make sure that we have the groups grouped properly and adequately. So we're going to separate into groups to be discussing community level, provincial level, national level, and then possibly regional level, depending on how many regional representatives we have here. So please don't move yet. I'll just read out who's going to be sitting where. So suppose you have a total block community. Suppose you one community member, more member blow one CDC. Or suppose you got one interest block community. You have a sit law table 1, 2, more 3. For the provincial level, suppose you one provincial government representative, or suppose you've got one interest block province. Or if you're an agency working at the provincial level, please sit on tables 4, 5, and 6. For national level discussion, sit at tables 7, 8, and 9. And then if our regional representatives would like to sit separately, sit at table 10, or of course, you're welcome to join any other group. So that's community level to sit at tables 1, 2, 3, provincial 4, 5, 6, national 7, 8, 9. And the questions you'll be discussing is, why is it important to have meaningful involvement of women, girls, boys, people living with disabilities in preparedness, response, and recovery? And how do we achieve that? So how do we achieve that at a community level, at a provincial level, and at a national level, and maybe at a regional level? And then your top 5 recommendations for how we do that. Are there any questions on that before you get up and move? Is that clear? You clear? You straight? You straight? Okay. You can move to your tables.